we're back.
We're back. All right, guys. While you were gone, I took the liberty. Did I say you guys were gone? I guess you said we're back from break. I took the liberty to put the Black Lotus into these hard sleeves right here. They're perfect hards. I like these a lot. And made by KMC. They give like the regular sleeve feeling on a perfect fit underneath or inside of the sleeve that you put them into, so it kind of gives you extra protection from any impact or anything that comes into connection with the card, and just keeps them nice and straight. As you can see here, I was able to fit it in, so that's definitely good news. I was worried about the borders and the corners being square, and the borders have this yellow gold on them coloring, and you have to definitely be very gentle putting it in. This is it right here.
It's going to be a long process trying to be real nice to every single one of these.
Yeah, it is going to take some time.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it definitely is worth it. All right, so let's go ahead and keep cracking here. We're going to the third out of 6 packs.
This is the fourth one.
Is this the fourth
Yeah.
one? 1, 2, 3. This is the fourth one, yep. Fourth out of 6. So we get this guy open up. And I just had to cut too. Alright. Let's see what's in here. I'm actually just going to do this. There you go.
Oh, you know we got that spicy soul ring right on top.
Spicy soul ring. Got that beta layout. Got the nice bright yellow colors. I definitely like the soul ring a lot. I'm sure everyone has one in their decks these days, whether you're playing Commander or old school or whatever it's allowed in. Alright. Make sure nothing sticks. Ooh, look at that. That's a very nice looking soul ring. That coloring is just, I love that coloring, that bright yellow flame.
Yep.
Alright, consecrate land, put that in Mistress Factory, makes it indestructible. I'm just gonna go a little quicker here so we can make it through. Sarah Angel. Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. Got conservation, prevent the loss of 2. Ice Storm Classic land destruction card.
That's hard to find.
Yep. Wall of Ice. This makes me feel so Neanderthal-y when I see this big caveman behind it, or a wizard,
Stuck
or what
in
it
the
is.
ice, yeah.
Whoever it is. Forest. Oh, Basalt Monolith. That's a good card.
Nice and dark.
Yeah, nice and very dark. Very vibrant darkness. Flash fires.
Destroy all planes.
Yep, destroy all planes. Red and white definitely had a little thing going. A little dispute going against each other. Orcish Artillery is one of the other orcs we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
They never really took off. But this one actually taps to deal 2 damage to any target, but you take 3 damage from it. It's not bad.
You gotta really want something dead.
Yeah, definitely.
Suleiman! Is that, or is that Simulacrum?
Yeah, Simulacrum. But it's got, they made an errata on this, which was really annoying. That changed the way that you could just redirect damage that was incoming to one of your creatures. Now it's something like the creature takes damage equal to the damage you were dealt, but then you gain life equal to that life. I think at end of turn or after the card or something. It was kind of weird. It kind of threw off the main reason why this card was printed. They made it weaker. But it was really good back in the day. If it was under the original. This Bog Wraith here looks very eerie. It's got that Reaper character with no face coming at you. 3/3 Swamp Walk. It's like, I guess, a Wraith. So
Other black decks beware.
yeah, exactly. Other decks beware. And it was one of those cards. Yeah, definitely sideboard or just against black. There's a swamp. Here's the animate artifact we're talking about. You put that on Time Vault.
Yep.
Make it into a creature, and then instant energy will finish off your unlimited turn. Clone.
Classic.
Classic, very classic.
Still print that effect. Now they have clones with Icy Manipulator.
Icy Manipulator. That is beautiful. It's funny to see. So here's one of the things that if I have. Do you use a pen? Can you use a pen to point with? You got one? I'm not gonna touch it. Just use it as a pointer. Thank you very much. If you see down here, it's got this white dot in the corner.
Yep.
But that's within the frames. They left that to indicate the authenticity of the card.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look up here, they're missing either because the frame didn't move around enough inside when they did the printing to allow for the white dots to be. So they're very, very minimal. You can kind of see a minimal, tiny one up there, but they should be more visible. You can see that. You won't see any here either, which is kind of like odd. Because you can see it right there. If I use this one, you see the white dots right here in the corner.
Yep, and this one
Down
has
here.
those planes and the Sarah Angels, and they all have it too.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird not seeing all of them have it, but as you can tell, the print run was not perfect back then. So keep going. Conversion. Mountains made into planes. White ward. Target creature gains protection from white. I know it's a lot of information.
Obsidian Golem?
Yeah, Obsidious Golem. He was like this. I don't know. He was just like this cool character. 4/6 for 6 mana, big boy artifact. Play him in any deck.
Yep.
And the image of him is good. So the flavor text says the footstone is connected to the ankle stone. The ankle stone's connected to the leg stone. It's just. You imagine like you being like a teenage kid who's like just growing up, making it through life, and he's reading stuff like this, and my mind was definitely spinning back then of obscurity and lots of questions. How they even get to that sort of flavor text? Lure, classic card.
Yeah, you gotta attack this thing, or it has to attack.
No, it has to. All creatures have to block this creature.
Oh, yeah, it's like prized unicorn almost.
Yep, and it's just got that beautiful Adam and Eve like lore ingrained into the image. You see that? It's just like that golden apple. Come take a bite of it, like lure. Tsunami.
Yeah, destroy all
Yeah,
islands.
destroy all. We see that in old school these days. A lot of islands, a lot of blue players. So, Hurricane deals X damage to all players, flying creatures. So.
Little
Comes
green
in pretty
fireball,
handy.
yeah.
Destroys everything, everyone. Copper tablet. I like that in a red deck because it amplifies the damage dealing that your deck set out to do. But the coolest thing is it's during his or her upkeep. So when you play this, your opponent takes the first point.
Yeah, so you get ahead of that race.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that and some mana barbs and some other random nonsense.
Hey, I hope to see you at the old school tournament with that deck.
You can let me borrow this collector's edition?
Might be able to work some of that. Wall of Stone. An iconic card, mostly because it had the camel in front of the wall. Couldn't get through.
Yep.
And it squats down.
I guess this is where I stop.
Yeah, that's where I stop. So when you see that, that's the end of that road. All right, Iron Star. It's okay. Mountain, Earth Elemental. Evil Presence is a really good black card. Target lands now swamp for 1 black, so you can make Mishra's Factories, Ribbons, Workshops, whatever.
Or if you're main decking that Swamp Walk guy.
Oh, yeah, that's
Guess
right.
what?
Now you're getting somewhere. Sink Your Vampire?
The guy's nice.
Yeah, it's
he
pretty
gets
nice.
bigger, right?
Yeah, and it's thirsty. He's just sucking to the vein of whatever that is, of life or something.
Yeah, that's the one I'm sure parents probably didn't like either.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I remember that being actually a card some parents had issues with. And one of the guys that I used to play with most, he was definitely my most common play buddy. His parents were hardcore Christian fanatics.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny when we would play. We'd play in his home. We'd play at the table. And the parents would come in, they'd be very polite, be like, hello. And they would walk into the living room and sit and do their thing. Then one evening, I remember the dad came out to us and said, you know, what kind of game is this? I mean, you guys have vampires and angels and demons, and this is like the game of Satan. And I said to him, you could view it like that, but remember, we have angels, and it's about other stuff, and there are other creatures and things going on, so I wouldn't put it exactly at that. And the mom came in, and she's like, yeah, we don't want our kids to be playing these demonic games. And I was like, the son who was present there, my play buddy, didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
He was speechless.
Just wanted to play.
Yeah, and you know, we just had to kind of downplay that was not what the game was about.
Yeah.
And they kind of were a little open-minded and kind of embraced the fact that we could continue to play then.
Lucky for you
this.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
lucky for us.
Had to go hide and play in secret.
Yeah, they were definitely fanatical about some of the stuff. Counterspell?
Classic.
Classic.
Yeah.
Peace out for 2 blue.
Stop doing that.
Yeah. Steel Artifact can be good.
Still pretty good, yeah.
Good old island, the dark one you like. Life tap. Gain life each time a forest of opponents becomes tapped. It's alright.
It's pretty, yeah, sideboard.
You can hack that. You can hack the color too.
Yeah.
Or the land, I guess.
Yeah.
Swords to Plowshares. That's very much a staple today.
Yeah. Iconic still. Yeah.
I mean, the beta one of these runs like 400. So if you don't want to pay 400, you can get a collector's edition. The Plains, Ivory Cup, and Castle. Oh, this is just
that
a
Christopher
beautiful.
Rush forest,
the
yeah.
Christopher Forest. That forest is so beautiful. Thicket, Basilisk, like the Cockatrice without flying. Here's the instant energy. It's the one we put on the animate artifact and the time bolt.
Yeah.
Killing Warlord's a really good guy. He was one of my favorites. He still is. He grows bigger with the number of creatures you have out on the field. So goblins, green, whatever you're playing. Yeah, he's always a solid champion to have. All right, living wall, burrowing.
that art has always been goofy to me.
It's like, definitely goofy because he's got this little, whatever, rodent gerbil, whatever it is.
It's like a groundhog or a mole.
With a horn and sharp teeth. I'm like, okay. Death Grip, very good against green.
It counters a green spell, right?
Yep, counters a green spell for 2 black. Wall of Bone regenerates. This card is actually good as a wall, and we used to play it in our black decks. But, you know, we kind of moved away from that and being just straight up aggro and just focus on bigger stuff. So, Enemy Dead.
Yeah.
This is a very good classic.
I play that card quite a bit.
He's very good. Throwing a bone.
Throwing a bone.
Throwing a bone. Feedback. Does damage to control of target enchantment during each upkeep. That's each upkeep. So he can essentially take 2 damage per round turnaround. So that means, you know, anything like this is also Quinn Hoover art, but anything like circle protections.
If you want to keep it around,
anything,
you still
you're paying a lot of life actually. Damage. Ooh, control magic, classic.
And let me have that creature.
Let me have your Shivan Dragon. Black Ward.
That's a cool. That's some cool art.
It's got that. I always feel like I'm in Texas when I see this. I get that
a little bit of the
Longhorn,
yeah.
Longhorn sensation to it. White Knight, classic. 2/2.
Pro black, yeah.
First strike, very good. Library of Lang, unlimited hand size.
Yeah.
And
you discard to the top of your deck
to
instead.
discard to the top of the deck. Ooh, Berserk. Oh, that thing is so sick.
It's a killer.
So you can play this on an attacking creature that your opponent is attacking with
Correct.
as well.
Yep.
Make him double up.
And it sacrifices it.
And then it dies, yep. And of course you do it on your own stuff with the giant growths and whatnot. Here's the Rod of Ruin we were talking about earlier with the Fungusaur.
Yeah, deals 1 damage.
Deals 1 damage.
Just 3 mana, so you can do it multiple times.
Well, that's a great question. So
did they errata it?
They had their way of saying that where it said mono artifact, a poly artifact.
Yeah.
And so mono is you can only use it once.
Uh-huh.
So that was their way of saying tap or colon with the poly. All right, Orcish Oriflame. Also, again, the
same,
Longhorn
it's like
sensation.
the same exact look.
Let's see, did he do this? I think he probably did. Let's see if I can go back and pull out this. Yep, Dan Frazier. See?
Yeah.
And it's probably meant to be the same.
It looks like it, yeah.
Same thing there. So, yeah, Orcish Oriflame gives all your attacking creatures +1/+0. But listen to this. What was crazy was it used to be until end of turn because it was when they're attacking. But these old cards, I think Alpha actually came out with it where it just says they gain +1/+0 permanently. So there's definitely a little card change there. Stone Giant. This is pretty cool with maybe Ball Lightnings or whatever you want to give flying. But it dies at the end of the turn. So Ball Lightning dies anyways.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Get that extra
flying.
damage in.
Oh, shoot, look at that.
It's
D-Tutor.
very nice.
Very nice. Crispy colors. I mean, that is beautiful. Demonic Tutor. This is classic.
He's gonna teach you some things with that book.
Yeah, he's always gonna write you up.
Yeah.
He's a hall monitor. He didn't behave. He's gonna go get the stuff. All right, Nettling Imp. That's forces one of your opponent's creatures to attack and on wall, and if does not attack, it's destroyed in the turn. So you manipulate stuff where you like tap it with icy.
And then it can't attack,
Yeah,
and it
force
dies.
it to attack, can't attack, it dies. Used to be a big thing back in those days when they didn't have many ways to do stuff, unless you had these little gimmicks, like I call them little synergetic.
It seems like they've built a lot of the cards into having to play with other cards, as opposed to nowadays. Seems like there's a lot more standalone cards that are just kind of good on their own.
Yep. And would you say that the mana cost has increased as a result thereof?
No, I think they've just powered up creatures quite a bit.
So that's like what we call, is that what we refer
Power
to
creep.
as the power creep?
Yeah, they've made, well, the spells back in this time seem a little better, like just Ancestral Recall.
Yeah.
They will never be able to print that effect again.
Yeah.
Just because its card advantage is way too strong.
Yeah, it was very strong. And you know, it is what it is. You know, they made a limited run of those.
And I think people like creatures a lot. Like you were saying, like newer players, you'd rather be playing creatures and like having cool big stuff on the board. Like you wanted a Force of Nature the first time you saw it. Like you're always gonna want the big boy.
Yeah,
like.
Force of Nature, Sheevan Dragon, Nightmares. All of those guys were iconic. Still are iconic cards to play. Side Blast, Sonic Blast.
Deals damage, right? Blue
Yeah.
damage spells. They
It
had a lot
was-
more of them back then.
Yeah, and I remember you brought one up too. There was another one from Legends.
Yep.
But this one was like from the Prime set. This was the only card in blue ever made that deals damage. It's very good. I mean, control deals 4 and 2 to you. I mean,
Is there bee sting in this set?
there is not a bee sting in this set. Yeah, that's that came. I don't know when did that come.
I think there's one in Portal.
Yeah, it was a portal card,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Same thing, but in green.
Yeah, in
essentially,
green,
which
yeah.
is a weird color shift
Yeah.
for dealing direct damage.
Yeah, and it's just like, but it makes those cards extra unique because they don't have any of those cards, right? So Psyblast, Phantasmal Forces, pretty good card. You only pay a blue during your upkeep, but it's a 4/1 flyer instead of the typical like 3/3 flyer we see for 4 mana. So a little more on the power level, a lot less on the toughness. So that's a trade-off.
I like how their power and toughness are just really hard to read on pretty much all of these cards. Like they pretty much all look like enchantments from over here. Like until you can kind of like see it's like blends in with the border.
Yeah, if you look at the blurry lettering and just wording with the print, if you guys can see that, like under summon here. Let's see here. Can you see that? That's definitely kind of blurry to me. So.
Yeah, I could. It was clear over here. Yeah, it's
all right. We got Crystal Rod, Green Ward, Karma. Karma's the classic. That's the one you just slide of mind the color. I mean the land type.
I try to play that in Commander, and then just somebody's always got an Urborg, so you just.
Oh wow!
All right, everybody, let's start taking damage.
That's amazing. Yeah, you play your Urborg. Yeah, I'll play this. Go ahead. Oh, Juggernaut's classic too. Put that pretty much in any deck. It's great.
Yeah.
Big guy, 5/3 attacker, attacking every turn. But the fact that walls could not block it was significant too.
Yeah, because people actually played walls.
They actually did play walls. There's a wall of brambles. 2/3 regenerate for 3. Seems okay.
Stick around forever. Yeah.
There's one of these juicy forests. Channel.
Yeah. That looks just as nice as I really like that. Kind of psychedelic looking.
Oh, this is super psychedelic. Yeah. This green with the art of like this bizarro.
Whatever weird wizard.
Yeah, weird wizard, and just it definitely is. It's a game that I'm sure you can have many experiences with, depending on your mindset, based on the art.
Yep.
Camouflage. It's a pretty fun card. Rearrange your attacking creatures and place them face down, and your opponent won't know what he's blocking until afterwards when they flip back up again.
So you can like shuffle them up, put them down.
Put them down. He's like, you don't get to see if you're blocking.
They should bring that effect back. That's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny, and that's another thing I really like about the original set. Just had some really cool concepts. Goblin Balloon Brigade, just a 1/1 flyer for red. It's good for the Goblin deck. Oh, this is one of my favorite like art cards because you just tap and destroys a wall. Dwarven Demolition Team. Yep. Just blowing
fingers in their ears, blowing up some stuff.
Blowing up some stuff, and you see the one dwarf, he didn't make it out. He's getting blown.
Not quite, yeah.
Blown away, a little bit there with the rest of the rocks. But this was really good.
Yeah.
Against wall decks, boom. Not a lot of people would play that because, you know, this is the red and whatnot. But anyways, Hypnotic Spectre, very common card. Again, you can see this stripe coming down from the skulls. This, like, ink leak. You see that? There's, like, white lines. I'm going to show you. See that? These guys can see it right there. Just something that... I
would have never noticed that.
Did. Yeah, the skull. This was classic for the skulls. And it kind of, like, seems like it seeps. Yeah. Like, it's like that CP, dark, creepy energy coming out of it. Swamps. Black Knight. Black Knight's also a very good card. Pearl white, first strike, 2/2, 2 black. I love this card. This card is really good. It saves you against Swords to Plowshares and just white weenies.
Yeah, Savannah Lions just get stonewalled.
Yep. And what's even more cool is this artist is the same guy who did Moat.
Okay.
So, and you'll see the castle in the background.
So it kind of like has a theme.
Which kind of looks like it's the same castle from the Moat art. So, if you guys can see that right there. You'd have to pull up a picture of the Moat, but it kind of gives me that same feeling because on the Moat image, there's a knight on a horse riding in towards the castle.
Yep.
All right, so Cursed Land deals damage.
Nope, I think there was one underneath that.
Oh man, you catch those really good. I can't feel as much with these gloves on, so your eyesight's much better than my touch. Black Vice, classic card.
Still being used in, I think it's seen play in Modern even.
Oh, you serious? Wow.
Yeah.
So do you see the original printings being used? Or you see like modern
printings? It's usually more, well, they have the same art for a while, so I'm pretty sure it's seeing Modern play, but don't quote me on that, really internet.
Yeah, because all you got to do is you got to clog up the board state. Everyone's got growing hand sizes, and then your opponent starts to suffer. That's a nice vice.
I think situation. I might be just thinking of the rack instead, because I don't think it's legal in Modern. Yeah.
So you think in the rack?
It's definitely the rack.
Okay.
But
that's fine. Cursed Land, it's okay. Deals damage during each upkeep to the control over land. So, you know.
Yeah.
It's just another way of...
It seems there's a lot of those effects.
Yeah. Phantom Monster. 3/3 flying for 4, so kind of like when we're comparing these two, the Phantasmal Forces.
How sad does Hill Giants feel now?
Yeah, I know, right?
Doesn't fly.
That one flies. This one has a pump in the power, 1 more, but 2 reduced and toughness, and a 1 blue upkeep.
Yep.
But if you're playing blue and you want to just go air, I mean, you got to play them.
Yep.
You got to play them. Bring them
so
in.
Many options, yeah.
Here's Siren's Call, kind of like the Nettling Imp over here. Just an instant speed. All of your opponent's creatures have to attack, and if they can't, they're destroyed. So,
if they have Summoning Sickness.
Well, so yeah, it goes around the Summoning Sickness, but you can play it with stuff like, again, Meek Stone, tapping all your creatures, whatever you want to do to kind of like meddle your opponent. But you know, that's how that works. This is a nice instance. Blue destroys creatures if they can't attack. So just got to make the board stay. So this is here where I got 2 cards. Red Ward, Resurrection.
Yeah.
They've printed a lot of the cards that do similar to this.
I think I played that. I think I played that in Commander just because I played like green-white Reanimator because nobody expects it because there's a card out of Ice Age. I think it's called Hymn to Rebirth or something like that.
Yeah. So Hymn to Rebirth or Hymn of Rebirth.
Yeah.
I think, but that one costs like 1 white and
it's
3
green.
colorless.
It's a green, white, and like 3.
Is it green, white?
Yeah, okay. But I think it comes back with a +1/+1 counter on it too.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But they definitely printed.
It might be from any yard too. I don't remember.
Yeah. So we're seeing a lot of stuff that in the original sets have carried over into current state Magic. Would you agree, Brian?
Yeah. They've like functionally reprinted a bunch of them. Basically, just changed the name up. Same effect.
Yeah, same effect, reprinted. And you know what? That's always been one of my fears in Magic, and that's why I'm happy the reserve list is what it is. But they just came out with the Modern Horizon Juzam Jin reprint in red, the Ogre. The 5/5 Ogre does exactly the same thing, same mana cost, just in red. So my fear is always like, Are they gonna print like a green Ancestral Recall and call it something new and say, "Ha, it's not blue, so it's not"?
Yeah, I think they've learned their lesson on card draw effects.
Well,
a little bit.
Well, it still worries me, to some extent, because it's like, well, do you want to invest in the old cards? They're never gonna be printed again, so is it really a safe investment? But you see like a Jusam Jin being ripped off and being printed in a red version, so it's like.
But if you're playing, that's why it's nice to have these formats that are restrictive to older sets.
Yeah, that's true, and that helps a lot. Definitely helps a lot with the format. So, anyways, Wall of Swords. That's a good card. 3/5 flying wall for 4 mana.
That's pretty good.
You put an animated wall, it can attack. 3/5 flyer for 4 is very good.
3/5 walls seems better than most of the walls already anyway.
Yeah. And it was a very popular wall when we were playing. Yeah,
because it actually kill things when it blocks instead of just sitting there and not advancing your board state.
Yep, exactly. Celestial Prism just changes mana.
That's some low effort art, in my opinion.
Compared
to like some of the other ones.
Yeah, this one's Amy Weber. She did the Time Walk, and sometimes some of her art can be simplistic.
Not to say that it's bad. It's just it's a little simplistic.
But it was just the mindset, I think, of the 90s. I think they didn't go into that full like glitter and like sparkles, and it had to be overly done. It was just like, nope, it's just gonna be like this. This prism of like these lines and this and the star changes
reflecting
into this
out
different
of it.
Star, and that's it. You get the point. That's what it seems like. Wanderlust. This is actually a very good card. That was a classic to the extent of this was talked about a lot because you put it on a creature and it deals damage to that creature during every upkeep. And I believe it's only their upkeep, but the fact that you could put this on like your opponent's walls or whatever, he just takes 1 damage every turn. That's nice for green.
There's a lot of they wanted these games to be kind of grindy, it seems.
Yeah,
1 damage a turn.
But they wanted you to have like these fun effects, and they wanted you to have all these different angles of achieving victory.
Yep. Decks are a little more narrowed down these days. Like this is the way I kill people, and I'm going to build it to continually do this one thing over and over.
Yeah. And it gets a little boring in that sense for some of the new decks. That, in my opinion, I mean, for some people it might work great because it's easy for them to do. So, Life Force, opposite of the Death Grip, counters black cards.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a little alien inside. It's got that neon green.
Looks like a little.
It's
like an egg with something growing in it.
Yeah, it's like
in
an
the
egg.
womb.
Yeah, in the womb or whatever it is. And we don't want to get into that topic these days because it seems to be a big one. The Forest, Wooden Sphere. Oh, there's the Dragon Whelp. This is also one of the favorites for red. The fact that you can only pump it 3 red before it dies, but essentially will get up to Shivan level, which is a 5/3 swing. But the cool thing is that you would just pump it full out with mana flares. So you probably want to get up to like 5 to 10 red and make it a big one when you do go in. And because it's 4 mana for a 2/3 flyer to pump. So, I mean, I like it. Versatile, great image, cute. Again, Amy Weber made it simple. This kind of like a little...
I like it, yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what a little whelp should be. A little
whelp should look like, yep. Red Mountain, nice and dark. Tunnel. This is an instant that destroys a wall, which is pretty cool.
Can't be regenerated.
Yeah, can't be regenerated.
There's so many creatures with. There was already. There was the one of the green walls, the 0/3 that regenerates for.
Yep. There was some walls in green to regenerate, so you need stuff like this to get rid of them. I don't know if I'd main deck them. That's an option. Earthen Troll. 2/2 troll that regenerates, but the flavor text is top of the line. Oi, 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 me got a hurt near. Oi, 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 me smell a ting is near. Gonna bosh and gonna nosh, and the hurdle disappear. So, I just love the flavor text and some of those. Yep. Well, that's Verse. Always good to see your opponent's hand anytime for 1 mana. I like that card. Wall of Water, another wall. You can pump the power up, so you could attack with the animated wall if you.
That looks like it was done by whoever did Blue Elemental Blast as well.
Yeah, Richard Thomas. Yeah, you can kind of see the waves and
same style, same color set. Yeah.
Very good. Water Elemental. I don't know if you noticed, take a good look at this, this is not a wave only in the art.
Got a little arm coming up there, his little face.
Face, yep. If you can see that. If you can see that. Pull that up there. Here. Yeah, you see that?
Yeah, his little like the old man.
Yeah.
Grabbing his oar.
Grabbing his oar. Yeah, it's like, hey, you're swimming my ocean. Come on down. I mean, this is what I just like about the art and these guys. They took this mythical mindset, they incorporated the art. It gives you visual stimulation of what the card does and brings you in, draws you in, mesmerizes you to some extent. And this card is very simple, 5/4. That's it, elemental. So I like that sort of art a lot. Lance, target creature gains first strike for 1 white.
It's pretty good.
Just the plains out. Here's the Jade statue.
There we go.
This is the one that is really good with Wrath of God, control decks, because it's just an artifact, and then once you pay it becomes this humongous creature that's 3/6 until end of turn. So you can block, you can attack, do a lot of good stuff, nasty stuff with this guy.
I like creatures that turn themselves on at will. Well, not at will, but for, you can, so you can, like you said, board wipe.
Yep. Like the Mistress Factories and stuff. And this is also done by Dan Fraser, did the Moxes, so,
Got that pebbly background.
Yeah, pebbly background, like we talked about earlier. Blue Ward, Dan Fraser again. Nothing too sophisticated here. Regrowth.
Still good.
Also a staple. Restricted for a reason. Bring any card from your graveyard to your hands. Beautiful. Lay Druid untaps a land. So you can put the Wild Growth on there.
Yep.
Yeah. Get like 2 mana out of it. It's pretty good. I like how they always had these old wizards, these old sages with their bards and beards and whatever in images when they could. So it always gives you that sensation of fantasy and wizards.
Definitely seems like a lot, just kind of like the old Lord of the Rings style, like wizards and stuff.
Yeah. So more lands, just randomly throwing in there. Oh, fire elemental. This babe is on fire, literally.
Yep.
Yeah, she's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
5/4 for 5.
Beautiful. Look at that.
With a whole bunch of flavor text.
Yeah. A lot of flavor text. Crackling and blazing. They sear swift, terrible paths, leaving the land charred and scorched in their wake. Very nice. Wall of fire. Here's another wall that pumps.
So yeah, fire breathing's pretty nice.
Yeah, fire breathing's nice. You want to attack with that. I made the wall again. It's really good. I like it. It's 3 mana, 0/5.
Yeah.
Again, Soul Net, gain life when a creature dies. Why not? It goes in any deck if you need life. I think that's pretty good. Like Elton John saying, it must be sacrificed.
that guy's just getting stabbed in the chest.
Yeah, I hope this image doesn't reoccur into the future every time you hear a song now. But that was something we made fun of when we were kids. Is sacrifice, and there was actually someone who would sing that. But this is really good because you get you can sack a creature and get the mana back in black mana. So stuff like Triskelion, after you use it, it's just a 1/1 after the counter's gone. You want 6 black mana out of it? Go ahead, sack it. All right. So stuff like this is good. Dan Fraser did this thing, this art as well. So you can see the swirly oil, whatever you want to call that.
It certainly has a very distinct style every time he does a background.
Yep. And it just helps. It draws out the background and emphasizes what's going on in the front. That's what I feel like he does. Scavenging Ghoul. This one's interesting. Not really seen much play. 2/2 for 4. Every time a creature dies, it gets a counter, and you can use a counter to regenerate it. So it's okay.
It's not terrible.
Creepy image though.
Gloom.
Gloom is a classic.
Yeah.
White spells cost 3 more to cast, but circles of protection cost 3 more to use. So that is nasty. That is nasty.
That one's just kind of funny, even in EDH or Commander today. Like, just kind of hoses white decks. Like, just throw it in there.
Absolutely. Yeah, just put them in. I play this in my sideboard for black, so it's definitely good. Swamp, Wall of Air.
Who did that one?
Richard Thomas. So same guy who did the
wall and the
elemental blast. Yep. Ireland, and here's an air elemental again. Richard Thomas, same art like you just mentioned. Tell, you can tell. This is a good one. 4/4 flying for 5. It's actually like a Sarah Angel, just doesn't have the vigilance to it.
Yeah,
so this one's good for blue. So wow, we are down to one more box.
And there's got to be.
One more pack in the.
A couple pieces of power in this one then.
Yeah. So we haven't seen the time walk.
Correct.
And we
I think there's one more
the
Mox.
time twister, and the black Mox. I think is the one we haven't seen. So, man, I'm hoping it's gonna be in there, because if not, man, we're gonna be disappointed. All right, so let's put these in here.
Even if it's not, I think the haul's still pretty good so far.
Yeah, it's definitely a good haul.
I think there's a scrubland left. Haven't seen that.
Yeah, a bayou. Do we see a bayou? No.
We need a bayou, scrubland,
okay.
A black Mox, time walk. We have the time vault there.
Yep. And again, folks, for you guys watching this, this will probably never happen again for most of us. So this is a one-time pull as of right now.
If you're still watching, thanks for sticking with us. I know we're two something hours in.
Yeah, we're going the whole way, but hopefully you guys are enjoying seeing all of this. This is definitely epic to me, and I believe it is for you as well.
Yes, that's why I'm here.
All right, so here's the time twister. This card, because it was allowed and is allowed in Commander now, has gained tremendous monetary value.
That makes sense.
I remember about a year and a half ago looking at picking up this card, and it was at 1,700. Then it went up to 3,000 by the end of last year, and now it's at 4,500 in most stores.
Yeah.
So mainly just because of being playing Commander. It's
the more formats it's allowed in.
Yeah, it's the best card for Commander. So in blue with the card draw. I mean, you have Time Spiral costs 6. You have Days Undoing, the new print of this, but then you end your turn. So I'm like, that's not fun. You want to do stuff.
Yeah, trying to reload and
All right, Armageddon. Look at that. That is beautiful as well. You'd never want to see this and being played against you. I mean, all the lands go bye-bye. This is a classic white land destruction card. Armageddon decks played it, green-white. I actually play a couple of these now in my green-red-white land destruction, because I kind of found that there'll be a time when your single land destruction cards no longer can keep up with his...
They dropped enough stuff.
He's dropped enough lands, and then you're like, nope, we can take care of that right now with an Armageddon. So we'll see how that works out into the future. Aspect of Wolf was actually one of my favorite cards in green. Not just the art is really cool, but it pumps up a creature by half the number of forests you control, run it up and down based on power toughness. Good. Yeah, so for those days, this is really good. I think once they printed...
I mean, you put that on a Verdant Force or Force of Nature.
Force of Nature. Oh man, that's big hits.
He's got trample. It's a problem.
Big hits.
That, and you do that and then Berserk him in one turn, and
it's game over.
It's a wrap.
Yeah, it's a wrap. And I like this card for that reason. It was like an extra, like Beyond Giant Growth card. Sticks around as an aura enchant creature, and when you play mono green, it's just fabulous. Ooh, Wheel of Fortune. That's a classic.
I like that art too.
That art is great.
What are you gonna get? Death, a sword, like. A cup and
heart
and some cup. Life,
so life, heart,
and some weird little creepy wizard man spinning the wheel for you.
Yep, and you don't know who it is. That's
round and round you go.
Round and round you
go. What are you gonna get?
What are you gonna get? So, yeah, it's definitely. If you notice, also the pick for the where it lands is determined by a skull with a one long tooth on top. This is just like this cool eerie concept of setting up a creepy Wheel of Fortune. Dark Pact. This is also like anti-card. With this one, you swap the top card of your deck with what you had antied. So it's like, hey, I would like to back. I need my Lotus back or my dual land or whatever. So you got a Dark Pact. Quentin Hoover did this one. The art's magnificent. So it is what it is. It's not being played very much.
Dingus Egg.
Yep, Dingus Egg. 2 damage for every land lost. Armageddon combo. Deal some serious damage. Underground Sea.
Looking real good.
Wow, that is looking fabulous. I mean,
that one's got to be a pretty penny.
Yeah, I mean, assuming they're all about what the revised ones are worth. What's the revised one at? 600-700
I would
or
say
whatever.
6 to 7. Yeah, it's probably the most valuable of the revised.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. I mean, Rob Alexander was just so good with doing the art on those. Wrath of God with the jade statue is really nice, man. I mean, look at that. The clarity on the art is great for an old card. I don't see any real blurs. They used to make fun of right here this guy having his buttocks sticking up with like a thong. A thong, like sort of like whatever clothing he's wearing, and just that's what you get: dead people and a big set of butts right right at you. Webb. It's a pretty good card. I believe that's a rare card for 1 green. Gives reach and +0/+2.
You blocking some big flyer, yeah.
Because green really had a lot of issues with that. Power Surge. It's an interesting card. Kind of does the opposite of Mana Barbs. So for each untapped land at the start of each turn, take damage. Whereas Mana Barbs deals you straight up for each land you tap.
So it's kind of anti-control, like. Well, they end with mana burn around at the time too, so it kind of played both ways. Like,
yeah.
So people didn't want to float the mana and take the damage, but if they needed to leave mana open to say counterspell something, then they didn't counter something, they still took however much mana they left open to.
Yeah, the burn.
Stay. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's interesting is though some people will play this with the Mana Barbs to make sure that
either
either way he's taking
yeah.
damage. Yeah. Oh, there's the Mind Twist. That is amazing. This card.
I like that art a lot.
Yeah, that art is great.
It pretty much personifies what that card is about. Like, what is happening to the person who gets that card cast on them. Like, no.
Yeah. I always thought it looked like this person pulled like a newspaper over their head in rain. That's what I always thought it was.
Just wrapping their hands around
Yeah, they're just wrapping their... I don't know what it is that they're wrapping their head around. That, like, beige-colored cloth. But it just got that perfect sensation of someone just being in mental agony.
Yep, and that's exactly how you feel when that card gets cast on you and you can't deal with it.
Card. Very good. Stasis.
Yep.
Also a typical classic power card for control.
Probably some of the most cartoony art that they have.
Yeah, it's kind of good. Like I don't know what to call it. I mean, you got the what do you call the these guys? Mime.
Yeah.
Because he's got that feeling to me. He's got like this
wolf thing with a blindfold.
But they're like characterized like pharaoh, like
Egyptian
the Egyptian style.
Yeah,
like the
Anubis stuff.
Yeah. So it's just that I can't figure it out and place it, but it's like it's what artists do. They just bring up this like sensation out of nowhere that you're not used to. And all right, next one, Brain Geyser. That's always a good one.
Yep.
Black border Brain Geyser. It's beautiful. Draw some cards.
The Bodyguard.
Him with regeneration. You take all the incoming you want from creatures. He'll fend them off and absorb. Fast Bond sick. You drop any land. Just take damage for each land you drop beyond the first. It's really good turn 1. Mark Poole did that one. Rock Hydra. Huh?
I'd say that wizard's robe is kind of funny. Like purple with white specks and.
Yeah, that's a funny one. At least he's a wizard. They did well in keeping a wizardry. Rug Hydra, classic red card too. You pump X into it, gets X counters, and you can regrow heads every turn for 3 red. But every time it suffers a point, you lose a head.
Yeah, it's a Hydra for you.
Yeah, it's the original Hydra. Yeah.
The shade.
The shade here is also the original 1/1. This is the Shadow. Shadow is in graveyard, and then at least 3 creatures above comes back into play. For 2 blacks, pretty good. Ooh, there we go, Time Walk. So we're getting close. At least we've got one of those in here. Take an extra turn after this one? Yep, we'll do.
For 2 mana, why not?
2 mana, I'll do it all day. Blessing. This is funny because I believe in the original printing it did not say until end of turn. So I'm not sure if this came afterwards or not. That's an idea. Kudzu. Pretty gross card. Keeps destroying lands every time they tap. Just switches them around onto new lands. The Shiva and
it switches onto. They can put it. They choose after it blows up. So but you just blow your own stuff up and give it right back to them.
Give it right back. This is merry-go-round of land destruction. Shiva and Dragon, definitely a staple card from the day. the heyday of Magic.
If you don't kill that thing, it's gonna get you quick.
This thing is like the B-52 of the sky.
Yeah.
Then you bring this thing out, it just bombs away. And they were on the booster packs for 4th edition. I just remember seeing the art over and over again, and it's just ingrained in my DNA at this point.
They've reprinted that card quite a few times.
They have.
Even for the more recent core sets.
The art, though, is what makes it just so special.
There haven't been any other dragons yet that we've seen, I don't think.
Not iconic like this one. This one's definitely the one. Will-o'-the-Wisp, keep on blocking, regenerating forever. 1 black, 0/1 flyer. It's actually a very good card. I'd main deck that sometimes. Island, drain power, sucking out all their mana, using it if you want to put it into a fireball. Reverse damage, you know that card, gain life. Time Vault, here it is. This one's beautiful. This is actually, I have a deck with this in it, just for fun. Living Artifact, yeah, it's okay. I didn't think too much of this. The art is actually pretty disturbing. It's got like this green octopus thing in a cage just hanging out in the open.
It's so strange.
Yeah, it's very bizarro.
Oh, I forgot about Plateau.
Yeah, Plateau. So this is the one that has the alternative art on it for the older sets. This art went up to Unlimited and then revised. They did start using the guy that's up on actual plateaus, little guy on a horse. 2-headed giant. Right here, 4/4 trample, block 2 creatures. I like this guy a lot.
For 5, that's not bad at all.
5, for 4. Oh, the Royal. Here's the Royal. This is a beautiful, beautiful card. I believe that I remember my first rare cards that I got, and this was one of them. I bought like 3 booster packs. This was one of them, and this card was worth $15 at the time. And some kid tried to cheat me for it and say that his Atog cost 2 mana. And because it cost 2 mana, it was more valuable because it cost less to play. And so we did a trade. We ended up doing a trade, and then afterwards I found out how much it was worth, and we traded back. So it's just funny how people
that'll happen. Kids do some weird trades.
Yeah, definitely. Back then, it was not about looking at price guides. It was not about knowing someone who would give you so much or whatever. It was straight up. If you felt like it was right, you just do it.
Yep.
And crazy trades happen, man. Crazy trades happen. Nev's Disc, it's a classic staple card.
Still sees play, yeah.
Still sees play, old school. Uses these a lot. Sideboard or main deck. You gotta wipe the board somehow. So, Island. Ooh, Jane Day Tome. This is a good one I want to talk about a little bit, because if you look closely at the art, what do you see?
Bleeding.
Okay, what else do you see?
It's got like teeth almost.
Yeah, it's got almost teeth. You see the eyes?
Oh, in
see
the
those
pages.
White eyes
yeah.
in the pages? Yeah.
It's like a
share that with everyone here.
Living book.
Yeah, the living book, right there. You see that? Almost good. Camera focus.
It was there for a second.
Yeah, it was there for a second. The glare and stuff. Anyways,
Jam
you guys
Day
can
Tome.
see that. Yeah, Jam Day Tome. Good card draw in any deck. 4 mana. Sedge Troll, they're using this a lot in a deck called Disco Troll. So they use this guy with the Nev's Disc because he regenerates, and the disc says just destroy. So you gotta stick around. This one's actually an interesting card because it's a Clockwork Beast, 7/4 when it comes out. Comes out in terms of 7/1 +1/+0 counters, and every time it attacks or blocks, it loses a counter, and you gotta buy him back. But it's an artifact and it's universal. 7/4 for 6 mana. That's okay. Copy artifact.
Real good.
Real good. 2 mana. Oh, you got a mirror universe. I want one too.
Yep.
Cormus Bell is really good in black. Makes all swamps 1/1s, so you can attack. Got a couple bad moons out.
Yeah, just end the game. Like, drop this thing. Yeah. Swing.
Pure Lace. I don't think anyone ever played this card. Change color of any card to white.
There was too many other cards that seem like they do the same effect, but you choose the color instead of purely only being white.
And that's more in the new stuff, right? In the new cards you've seen, or you've seen them in here?
I was talking about like Magical Hack and all that other stuff.
Oh, right.
That give you more options.
Yep. Yeah, so this changes the whole color of a card, which I guess, I don't know, circles, maybe, or you have a card that does something with white cards. I mean, that's when you'd want to use it.
Yeah.
Vajoran Enchantress, 0/2, draw a card.
Whenever an enchantment comes into
Whenever
play.
enchantment comes into play. She's a classic.
Enchantress decks still exist.
Still exist today. Didn't they came out with a commander deck that had that green, white, blue...
Like Constellation
something
person,
like that,
or not Constellation, or the Bestow one.
Yeah, some one of those.
That the Helm of Gifts.
Yeah, Helmet of Chatsuk. Gives a creature ability to band. 1 mana to play, 1 to use. Not bad if you're playing creatures.
You don't even need to have banding on your dudes.
Yeah, apparently you can just get it in the helm. Creepy looking helm though.
Oh, Earthquake.
Earthquake's a classic. X damage to each player and each non-flying creature in play. You know how that works. There's a Scrubland.
That looks real nice.
Yeah, that looks really nice.
The light art with the real dark borders.
Yeah, you like that? And you like the gray rings on the inside of the text box? Demonic Hordes. I love Demonic Hordes because for 3 black, which is a heavy upkeep cost initially, but in the long game it's nothing. You can either have a big 5/5 beater or tap and destroy a land, and for land destruction or any sort of control, you just keep beating his lands down and
then
get
when it's time to swing, you do it.
You get in, exactly. That's what we used to do. Just destroy the land slowly, grind it out. And I love how like the arms are like in the air, like these little freakish demon
whole bunch of them,
fiendlings coming at you. Mana Vault. This card's being played a lot these days.
Yep, it's super good.
Super good still. They reprint a bunch of times. Foil versions and whatnot.
And just let it sit there until the turn you need it.
Yep. And I mean, even if you tap it, take 1 damage.
Have some other thing to untap it with.
Yeah, I see a lot of people transmute, artifact it, sack it, do some stuff after you use it. It's all good. Counter, did you watch that movie Annihilation?
Nope.
With what's her name? The famous. She goes into a cave that looks just like this. So for you folks out there who watched it, that's what comes to my mind as being in that cave at the end. Oh, there we go. Mox Jet. I think that is the last piece of power we're looking for.
Yeah.
Very good. So we have all the power 9. This one's very good, of course, especially mono black. Thought Lace, change the card to blue. I just love how the eyeballs are like glowing out of nowhere.
Just hanging out over the ocean or something.
Over the ocean. This was definitely what I want to say is just when I started and when I was growing up with Magic, this level of fantasy back in the mid-90s just ranged along with the side of things like the Super Nintendo. A lot of things where our minds were being taken to and elevated to new heights of imagination and I don't know what to call it really, but just where you can place yourself in like another dimension or time or whatever it is. And so the Magic art kind of, I think, just made me very creative because it let me go beyond, as they call it, the shore of imagination.
Yep.
All right, Personal Incarnation, 6/6. You can redirect any damage done to this guy to yourself, which is pretty good. I mean, if you ever dies,
the 1 damage.
Yeah. So you try to keep him around and beat face, but if he ever dies to like a terror, the caster loses half his life.
Ooh-wee.
So it's a gamble. Still a good card for white. It's big, 6/6. People playing this. Living Lands, all forests are now 1/1s. It's okay. Did you start? There's no bad moon for a green, really. So, unless you did a Gauntlet of Might and you magical hacked it, or even a bad moon and did a hack on the with the Sleight of Mind. All right, so Illusionary Mask.
This is a wacky one.
Very wacky one. Basically, you're summoning creatures face down that your opponent knows nothing about. You got to pay mana into it that you then got to keep track of, and then you can flip it up. Whenever it deals damage, receives damage, is tapped. So it's like a surprise. I'm here. Goblin King. 2/2. Goblins in play game Mountain Walk. It's good stuff. Good art. Really good art. Oh, the fork. I like the fork a lot. You copy Ancestral, Time Walks, Fireballs, whatever.
And thanks, me too.
Yeah. Oh, there's the Bayou. Hoping to see you.
Looking good.
There it is, man. Look at that green again. That neon green in the box. The just the art is clean. It's perfect, crisp.
They look so much better with a black border.
Yeah, they do. I mean, and that's why the foreign black border ones that were worth nothing, and I remember seeing those at the end games back before the new ownership happened.
Mm-hmm.
He was selling these for like $10-15 in a box, and no one wanted them in the foreign version, and now they're worth like $1,000 or whatever. So it's crazy, very crazy. Hollyman, classic. Always good to draw some
eyes
cards.
peering at you. Is that what that is?
Yeah, and this reminds me of like the He-Man castle. Because I don't know if you ever saw that. It was like big play toy.
Long time ago, yeah.
Long time ago. It just reminds me of that. Yep. But eyes peering out, it just makes you wonder. That's what I like about the Magic Art. Demonic Attorney.
That's an anti-card, isn't it?
Yeah, another anti-card. If opponent doesn't concede the game immediately, each player must ante an additional card. I'm like...
So that means there's an anti-card out already, and then...
Yeah, an additional card. So both of us...
You either immediately give me your card, or...
Yeah.
I think got banned quickly, I assume.
Yeah, and anti pretty much in general just went away for Magic because... I'm hearing different story from the judges. The judges compared to gambling. Initially when people were doing it, and there was a computer game made by Micropose in like '94 that was called just Magic.
Mm-hmm.
You would go around and you would play other players just on the PC. It wasn't on the internet, and you would ante a card every time you played. And so the more opponents you defeated, the more cards you gain, and that was kind of like the idea behind Magic was to go out,
beat people and win cards.
Beat people, win cards. Kind of like, we do that when we enter a tournament. We pay an entry fee, and we hope that it all accumulates to the prize pool, and then you win. Yeah. Hopefully the first prize, but whatever you win is still good enough. So. I'm
sure it was just a feel-bad mechanic for a lot of people too. Like, I'm losing my collection. Like.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think it was like that. Like, you got opponent puts a Black Lotus on, you put like a basic land out. Then like this doesn't seem right.
You win somehow and get a Black Lotus. Yeah.
But what kind of helps balance that out of these cards, because you can add them in, you can switch up the ante, you can manipulate the ante stack and stuff like that. And to me, back then, there weren't no values considered.
It wasn't. Yeah, they didn't think it was going to be.
Yeah.
People losing hundreds or thousands of dollars. It was just like, whatever, go get us some more cards.
You lost a Dueland? You get another one next starter deck. You buy it for $10.
Yeah.
It wasn't that big a deal. And so for me, I'm like, I like the idea of ante, and I've been thinking about making a format of just ante, where we just play silly decks. Don't put anything expensive you don't want to lose in there, but we're playing for keeps. So that's
be interesting, yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I have like been trying to figure out and get started. And a couple of us that have been receptive to that idea. So you might see us be doing that here in the near future. Last card, Gauntlet of Might. That's right. That is a good card.
Yes,
Talking
indeed.
about that earlier. All red creatures gain +1, and all mountains provide an extra red. So I would play this in a mono red deck, just like any other day. Now they have the like Cage Sun and.
Yep. One-sided ones instead.
Yeah, the Gauntlet of Power, where you choose the color. That was based off this card. So yeah, I think we reached the end. All the cards look really good.
Yeah.
They're all crisp. I see some of the cards had like that line run, like we mentioned in the beginning from the print. I don't know what that is from the press or whatever it is that ran down the sheet. And then we had. I would probably say I saw a few cards that weren't perfectly centered, but that's to be expected with the older cards. That was a thing.
They all look pretty good, though.
Yeah, they all look really good. These are brand new. I actually really like that they have this gold on the back, because it makes it feel like it's this, like, World Cup or Olympic Cup, like, gold standard around them, so...
I like it too. I'm glad there's a format that is allowing people to play them.
Yeah, and
before they kind of just held no value.
Yeah, they just held like the aesthetic value of just putting them in a binder or something.
Yep.
And I never really planned for this set to become something I'd want to keep because it would be legal to play with.
You were just collecting it to potentially sell it, or
well, it was just like such a rare like set that first of all, I never got to back in the 90s. I saw them. I saw people having them, but I never was able to acquire one.
$50 as a younger person. Yeah.
Yeah, $50 is a lot of money for like a 14, 15-year-old kid. And plus they're a limited run. You know, it wasn't easy to find. It wasn't like they were on the shelves at
every
each
place
store
had
and
it,
every place you'd go to. And that kind of made these very rare. And so when I guess about 6 years ago, when I was just looking for stuff to acquire, and I was like, you know what? I think I want to get me these, and I want to just hold on to them, and one day I think it'll be worth a lot. And someone actually that I spoke to, a player here, mentioned that they would be worth a lot if they would be playable. And I said, yeah, I guess, but I was never on my to-do list for this purpose. And the fact that about a year or two ago, the old school community was created and rooted itself, and they embraced collector's edition because they have the art. This set just skyrocketed.
That's good news for you.
Yeah, it's good news for me. And I won't say we all count our blessings when we have them. This is definitely one of mine. And you know, I can only say that I know Magic well enough to when I do pick stuff up, I try to get the most unique, like precious. And kind of like what we do with foils. You know, we want to get the shiniest object we can get our hands on. I guess I'm like a magpie to that extent. And so if I do get something really good and it just happens to work out, that's great. But sometimes, you know, not all my picks are
can't all be winners.
And it's just hit and miss sometimes. But I'm happy how this set has treated me so far, and that I get to play with it. So, Brian, I think...
well, thanks for bringing this in. It was fun, man. It was cool to see. It got to be...
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever get to see this again, so...
probably me neither. This is the End Games right here, Charlottesville, Virginia. We have a tournament next week, next Saturday, old school.
July 6th.
12:30. 12:30, and... they're going to have great prizes. We got...
it's like come by on Thursdays, too. Come play some old school every Thursday. People come hang out and play.
Yeah, I mean, we've been meeting even Mondays or Tuesdays now. We've got a little group. If you want, just check our Facebook page out. We got...
I'll put links in the description.
Yeah, put the links in the description. And come on out, play with us. I also... did I mention that I was throwing in the deck boxes?
Yeah.
I did. Okay, very
most
good.
Creative deck.
Yeah, most
last
creative
place.
deck. So just come on out, have some fun Magic, and I'm happy to see more and more people building old school decks here in Charlottesville. So
cool.
And the End Games will have a lot of products for you, whatever you need. We got the perfect cards like here, like I'm using to put my cards in for sleeve purposes. And then what I'm going to do afterwards is actually I'm going to put them in these right here, the Ultra Pro. These are binder pages that you put in a ring binder. The reason why I picked these, just lastly, is because I was looking at them with Brian. They have very smooth surfaces on both sides, whereas the
newer stuff's all cloth with a
has
little
the cloth,
texture. Yeah.
Little texture, like little dimples on the back, which might be for we thought it might be for breathing or just better grip or something. But when we're looking at stuff to store these cards in long term, I'm looking at something like these right here that are perfectly flat and will fit the cards. And we've been using these ever since Magic was around.
Yeah.
These are the classic sleeves, and Ultra Pro makes them, so you can get those if you want to. So, yeah, Brian, that's all I got.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me today. This was a pleasure.
We'll have to do something cool again like this.
Absolutely.